In today's episode, Kate Zenna, she joins me. Now, she's an actor, she's a director, a producer, she's a writer. Now, need I say more? Actually, I do. Most importantly, she's a serial, I mean in the best way, dog rescue extraordinaire. Now, from an early age, Kate knew she was a dog person. And now, when you fast forward to today, she's what I would call a crazy dog person. And I mean that as a compliment in the best way. What she does on her own is simply amazing. Again, on her own with no organization that she's affiliated with. She's just being the great, crazy dog lady that she is. And trust me, it takes a big heart and sheer determination to do what she does and what she has done. Now, this was a really, really fun episode for me. Now, she's got these great dog stories that she tells. And one last thing. She has this Hush Hush Animal project she's working on, and she's working it on to bring it to the big screen. Now, she touches a little bit on it, but because of the early development, we just can't get into it too much. But just think, when it does come out, all you can say is you were one of the ones that were the first to know. Now, I just love stories of people working out of the box to fix things that need to be fixing. So sit back, get ready as Kate brings you into her world and opens her huge heart to you.
For real, 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 for real. Got a bunch of furry friends and I love them all the same. I'm an animal lover, veterinarian is the name. Let's share some pet stories from heartwarming to strange, losses and games, from wacky to insane. For real. You're now tuned in to For Real with your host, Mark Kyle.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the For Real podcast. Today, we have the privilege to have Kate Zenna here. And Kate, welcome to the show, first off.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me and inviting me on.
Well, I think it's a privilege, but for you guys out there listening who may not know who Kate is, I always think I'm one of these people that does everything. She does everything. And when I say everything, just kind of listen it. And if I miss anything, Kate, add in here. Actor, writer, producer, director, chef, author, filmmaker, and serial rescue person, which is one of the reasons why we've got John, and you've got a project about animals and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, Kate, let's get going because we got a lot to cover. And I'm going to try to be really specific, but me being me and you being you, we better control each other.
Control. It's all about control, Mark.
Yeah.
It's definitely control. Well, I'm, by the way, there could be an eruption at any point. I'm surrounded right now by 7 misfits napping at the moment, but who knows what's going to happen at any point.
So I have a rescue, and you didn't know this, but I have a rescue because where I record is in my house. The sound is the best in this one room that I use. And my dog inevitably, almost every time I do a recording, she lets everybody know she's here one way or another. So
amazing. Do I say her name or she's just going to?
No, she's sleeping in she's looking out the window right now. Her name is Mabel.
Oh my gosh, don't say that. I've got one. I've got a Mabel.
You have a Mabel too?
Yeah, she's...
I told you we're going to be best friends.
She's napping right now. Yeah.
I told you we're going to be best friends. So here's the deal. Let's start with you. I want to get in your background. So let's start. I know you're from Canada originally and you're in Palm Springs now, but let's start back to little Kate and kind of do the journey to get to where we are today and your whole background, where you were, what you did, why you're such an animal person.
Oh, wow. Why I'm such an animal person. I will definitely say it's got to be from my first dog. And also, I think childhood, I say childhood trauma, but I suppose I mean it, but I don't mean it it wasn't exceptionally overtly traumatic, but there were definitely, I can see in my life issues of connection and wanting more connection. Parental connection, and not getting that. And so as a 10-year-old girl, like most 10-year-old girls, you beg and beg and beg and beg for a dog because that's the age that it seems to be appealing. And my dad said, if you want a dog, you need to read the entire American Kennel Association book, which was super, super thick. It was in the
I've never read it.
so, but he said, you need to read that book and know all the dog breeds. So I had to read about all, I know all the dog breeds, what they were in the 80s. And you're either going to get a border terrier or an Irish wolfhound. Those were the two. Even me looking at the whole book, there was only going to be two that we were going to choose from. We ended up getting a border terrier. And I was dedicated to I named him Kendall, as in Kendall in Scotland. And I think it's in the Scottish and British English border country where border terriers come from.
Are you Scottish or English?
I'm both. I'm Scottish, English, Greek, and Canadian.
So just so you know, Kyle is Scottish.
Oh, right. That's of course.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Of course, of course, of the horse, of course. Anyways,
So we're both from. With the, I won't attempt my Scottish brogue. My brogue.
I don't have it. If I try it, nobody's going to think it's it.
I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh, that's
8,
way better than I.
9, 10. Very sexy. So Kendall came around, and Kendall's arrival coincided with my mother's knee surgery, which meant she was off of work for 8 weeks. She was a teacher, and Kendall ended up bonding with my mother. And it broke my heart that my mother was everything to Kendall. I trained him every day after school in the garage. I would do all of this training. I would take him for walks. I did everything to be the apple of Kendall's eye. And when I really do believe this is directly related to my dog rescue addiction currently. When we had the final exam in the basement of this church in Streetsville, Ontario, of course, I remember everything so perfectly and vividly. It was cold in there, and it was the exam day. So your whole family came to the dog obedience exam day. They're all sitting in chairs on one side of the basement of this church. And it was the sit-stay that we were doing. It was the final last bit of this competition. And I said, sit, stay to Kendall. And I walk away. You walk away. Your back is to the dog. And I'm walking toward my mother. And around the side of me goes Kendall right into my mother's lap. And everyone laughed and laughed. And I ended up failing, of course. And I was last in the line as well of all the people with their certificates. I didn't get a certificate. I failed. It was awful.
Well, that's terrible for a 10-year-old. That's ridiculous.
Terrible. It was terrible. I mean, I was also the size of a 15-year-old by that point, I'm sure. So I never looked my age when I was little.
It still doesn't matter. That's wrong.
Terrible. Wrong. It's awful.
Yeah.
So I think that in that moment, I had this hole in me that wanted to be the winning apple of the apple of something. I wanted my certificate back.
Yeah.
None of my dogs now would pass that. I don't think. Maybe Nico would. So I ended up getting that. So Kendall lived for about 18 years. And when he passed, I then got a border terrier with my then boyfriend. His name was Harry. Not the boyfriend, the dog. And then 2 years later,
he was just Harry, though.
He was Harry, actually. He was Italian. We love Italian. We love Italians. And then a couple years later, we brought in another border terrier, and her name was Echo. And Echo was the lead up to my entree into dog rescue. So my ex and I went down to LA. We moved to LA from Canada and drove down with Echo. We left Harry with a sitter in Toronto. And I'm not sure why we didn't bring both of them, but we brought Echo. And after being there 2 months in LA, living at the Highland Gardens Hotel up on Franklin in Hollywood,
Yep.
Echo went missing from the hotel. We were there. We were actually moving rooms from one room to another. And that's something I've learned now, that when you're moving, there's a lot of difference in routines, and doors get left open, and then dogs don't know where their comfort zone is. And a lot of dogs get lost when you move to a new place or when you're moving out of your place. I've learned that since. Anyway, so Echo went missing. It was absolutely brutal. And for the next week, we had the entire hotel, which was mainly full of actors coming down from Toronto for pilot season.
Sure.
It was like headquarters central, like this dog rescue central, where people would come by. We printed out posters. Our car was plastered in posters. People were taping posters to all of the lampposts and everything everywhere, all in the neighborhood. And of course, we had to go to various shelters. And when I went into these shelters, we were from Canada. We just didn't have the same situation. I was appalled and heartbroken to see how many amazing dogs there were in all of these shelters in Los Angeles, because it's got the East Valley, the West Valley, Burbank, all of the South LA, shelter. And I promised that even if we found Echo, if we didn't find her, we did find her, I was going to go and adopt one of those dogs and find a home for one of them. There were these cute little scruffy terriers in there. I thought that it was going to be full of Rottweilers and pit bulls and dogs who had behavioral issues, and it was completely not that way at all. And that was in 2004. And a week later, after a whole bunch of crazy things happened, we ended up getting Echo back. That's a whole other story that I can share, because the details of that is its own little movie. And that began. So I went to the shelter after Echo came back, and I pulled out a dog, the scruffy little black terrier with long spindly legs, and named her Holly, as in Hollywood, and brought her back to the hotel. And immediately she and Echo hated each other. And I thought, well, what am I going to do now? So I passed Holly on to another actor who was living in the hotel. And luckily, within a week, I think it was within a week, I found someone who said, I have friends in Northern California who just lost their dog, and they're ready to get another one, or they've lost their dog. Princess had died a few months before. And they sent pictures of this dog, Holly. And I drove Holly up about a month later and dropped her off at this couple's in Northern California. I forget where now. And something about that experience just stuck. I've got my theories about why, because when you foster a dog and you give a dog away, there's a certain deep level of anguish that happens. At least for me, it was really difficult. You get close to a dog and then you're placing it in a new home. And I kind of got addicted to that. There was an adrenaline rush as well. So all around the dog rescue world, there's a lot of interesting adrenaline stuff that happens. And I found since then, because I've now rescued over 50 dogs since then, I just kept doing it, that we share something in this dog rescue community. There's something that we share around pain, feeling the need to rescue, to help others, to fix others. And I bet you if you look under the hood of a lot of people's pasts, you will see that maybe in their childhood, they've got things that seem to directly point to that kind of the need in them to do good and to help others. Not always so healthy either, I got to say, because it can get pretty taxing mental health wise.
Well, just to interject a little bit on that, I agree with you, and I'm going to use the term. It seems like most of the people that I talk to, either through work or whatever, that are involved with rescue or whatever, and I'm going to use this term, and it's a play on words, but it's the same. They're all kind of the same breed. You know what I mean? Everybody seems to have some commonality, that there is a reason, and you may maybe be 100% correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like that under the hood term, by the way.
it is. It's under the hood, and all of us. There's a hood. Every one of us has a hood. So you can look at. I do believe that all of us as adults are really just working out our childhood stuff, and we're finding our path. We're finding the way to our most authentic selves, and hopefully the best version of ourselves, and the most kind and loving version of ourselves. And healthy, balanced, all of those things. And over the years, I've just taken a lot of time to examine how I'm helping, why I'm helping, when I decide or when I notice that I'm scouring the dogs in need pages at either a shelter or on Facebook or something. And for me, I've seen a correlation between what's going on in my personal life and when I'm feeling the need to get out there and do something. Because for me, there is a definite adrenal, hormonal, oxytocin, serotonin. I don't know which of those drugs, those hormone drugs, they are. I think it's a cocktail of them.
Sure.
And I try now to sit back and keep keep focused on what I'm doing, which is creating things for film and television that always dovetail with now with animals and making the world a better place and kinder and sweeter, because I can see now that the dog crisis, the dogs in need, and now also horses in need, it's not it's not ending. We are just patching yet another hole in the bucket, and all of us rescue people are exhausted, and it's debilitating and heartbreaking because every time you rescue one horse or one dog, there are 10 or 15 or 100 more that end up in a shelter that day. And you think, well, geez, what am I doing this for? And that's when it can get very mental health scary, because you start to lose hope, and it's an invisible thing, this losing hope, gaining hope, and we have to be very careful.
We can also take on that negative energy too. And you know what's crazy right now, since COVID, what happened during COVID, and I know you know this, but and I've probably said it on the podcast before, is all the shelters were emptying out during COVID because people were lonely, and a lot of people got pets that shouldn't have got pets. And now every rescue that I talk to is overflowing, and they're not even taking in pets. And so now what's happening? You're finding these dogs that are being left in the middle of nowhere, and it's a horrible time right now for the pet world for sure.
It's really bad. It's really bad. And but it's interesting that you say, because I hear that a lot. All these people went and got pets and they shouldn't have gotten pets. And
Right.
if we dig into that, one side of me could easily say, absolutely, they should not have done that. Absolutely, they're looking at pets as what can they give to me, as opposed to how can I serve that animal that's in need? How can I do that?
Right.
I we are living in a way, our manner of living as a culture is not conducive to taking care of an animal responsibly. And then you have people who leave a dog at home all day, and then the landlord, if they're renting, has an issue because that dog is chewing the moldings or barking or somehow destroying stuff in the house because they're not being taken care of properly. They're not being walked enough, or having enough interaction with the human. And that's because we're living in this manner that we're working 16 hours a day. We're away from home because we're trying to make ends meet. And so the job is a 1 hour drive just to get to and from the job. And then the job is 8 hours. And then you've got kids and you've got all of the stuff on top of it. And then we have dog sitters. We've got dog care issues. We've got the cost of dog care. Why is it so difficult to take care of a dog responsibly when animals actually give us so much good health? They're just so good for our health, really,
Difference.
and we're good for them. So it's not that people should not have pets. It's how our society is handling that. If you're working in a building or a store, is there not a way to solve it? Could there be if I had a company, a big building, there would be a big room where all the dogs can come and stay. It's like doggy daycare that's part of the office, so that those people have their dogs cared for, because I'm going to have a healthier minded workforce if these people have pets, but not if the pets are being left at home alone and I'm asking these people to work 8 hours, 10 hours a day. So I think that there are solutions where everyone can win, but for that to happen, we have to really all look at things in a new way, in a way that is less selfish, less greed motivated, less profit motivated, and start to look at the idea that profits should be different. The idea of profit can look different than just a bank account, a bank number, a monetary number. But these are very, very big ideas.
I'm going to change it. I'm going to say it differently. It's not necessarily a new way. It's really an old way, back in the way things used to be. I think today's world is a lot faster paced, and people are really more consumed with consumption and all that. And I was thinking too, where you're saying that. So what you're saying is if I'm a healthy person, that makes a healthy dog. And if I have a healthy dog, it probably makes me a healthy person. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, yeah, and a better employee, a more productive employee.
Healthy environment.
When I hear it, yes, if it's a way to there is a way for everyone to win, but there's an adjustment period and there's discomfort on all sides. There's discomfort for people who want to make more money, a landlord who does not. There's so many landlords who will not rent to people with pets, and it's mind-boggling to me that there hasn't been some way to assuage their concerns and then the needs of these pet owners. So the biggest thing that I see in dog rescue is I'm moving. I need to find a home for my dogs. And I often have stepped in. I've kind of found this niche where like I certainly don't do this as a niche business. I just do it. I've found a way to try to help dogs before they get into the system, before they end
Of
up
course.
at the shelter or dumped on the side of the road. So when I go on Craigslist and I'm scouring through looking for dogs, people are giving them away, or they're
Wait. Stop. Pause. Wait a minute. Wait. Pause. You go through Craigslist
oh
looking for
yeah,
dogs.
I do.
You're a crazy dog lady, is what you are.
I am a crazy dog lady. When I am in the middle of writing and I'm procrastinating as a writer, I am scouring or I'm doing that. I'm scrolling. So I might pop, depending on what my mood is, I might go over to Craigslist and see if there's someone who
That's
just
hilarious.
found a dog. I've found amazing dogs that way who I've then ended up being able to help.
Crazy dog lady.
It's
That's
crazy dog lady. So someone
absolutely.
might find a dog, they don't know what to do with it. They're going to take it to a shelter, and I may be inspired. If I think I can help, I can say, I'd love to support. How can I support you? How long can you keep the dog? Can you keep the dog for a month? I will try to find a home for the dog while if it's a dog that they found, or if they're going to give the dog away. And I've done that for a number of dogs. In fact, Mabel is that. Mabel ended up staying. I was going to place her, but she ended up falling in love with Willow, and I couldn't separate them. They're in love. So that's the I forget how I got into the niche of finding dogs before they get into the it's the landlord issue. There's an epidemic of landlords who are quite rightly, because if you're a landlord, you don't want to have people who are irresponsibly caring for pets, and they leave, and these apartments and places are destroyed. So there has to be a way where people can find a way to quell a landlord's concerns about that, and that's not something that's easy to do. And but there's got to be a bigger solution to what's going on, particularly in Los Angeles and in California. The crisis it's in all states. It's head shakingly crazy.
What's funny is if you look at it, I always say this all the time. It's actually a very simple solution, but simple is the hardest thing to do. So, in other words, you got to pay attention to the dog. You got to give them the attention they need, and if you do, the dog's not going to tear up the apartment or the thing, because they're living a healthy lifestyle. Then all of a sudden, the landlord says, "Oh, it's not a big deal. I'm used to dogs never really do anything because they're treated better." But that's a big job to do, and it's in the simplest form. It sounds great, but it's a big job to do.
It's a big job. Yeah. It's that we need dog sitters who are affordable. We need state sanctioned or paid for, subsidized, majorly subsidized or covered spay and neuter. We need people to pause on backyard breeders should be charged. They should be jailed if they are found backyard dog breeding for money. It's ridiculous.
Puppy milk.
Yeah, it's with all the puppy mills, and then the big business that are selling puppy mills, like all the pet stores. That has to stop. There's a number of things. If I was president, there's a number of things that I would go and handle, because from the very bottom up, then it trickles up. It's a trickling up. If we can help the pets, you're actually helping people who are in crisis, because as I say a million times a day, it seems, every dog that's in crisis means that there's at least one human in crisis. There's someone who's overworked, overtaxed. They've got mental health issues. Whatever the issue is, there's something going on that has allowed that situation to progress where that dog is put into a shelter. Even people who just discard those dogs into a shelter because the dog is old and they can't handle it. Those people have issues. If I went into their family, I would recognize that there's something going on that's not okay. They're looking at the dog as though it's a piece of property or a piece of a consumer.
Instead of a sentient being. There's several and I'm trying to think of the name. It's Old something. I think they're in Tennessee that actually rescues senior dogs so they can live out their life in a
That's
quality
Kate
way.
Zenna in Palm Springs.
No, that's the crazy dog lady you're talking about.
I run a geriatric dog facility. That's what's going on.
For real, 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 for real.
And we'll be right back. We are supported by PrepVet, providing stem cell therapy for pets.
As a pet lover, did you know your pet can benefit from the incredible healing power of stem cell therapy? Prep Therapy offers a groundbreaking solution taken right from your pet's own blood. Say goodbye to joint pain, arthritis, kidney and liver conditions, and more. They'll experience faster recovery, increased vitality, and extended quality of life without the need for surgery or harmful drugs. Put the wag back in their tail and discover Prep Therapy today at PrepVet.com. Save 10% with promo code FurRealPodcast, covered by most pet insurance.
Yeah, I'm going to get into some of your dog stories too. Why we're doing this. Let's talk about, and I'm going to bounce a little bit around, but let's talk about. I know were really involved with the hurricane. Tell me that story and what you did, and give everybody the background of that so they can understand one of the things. And by the way, everybody listening is capable of doing the same thing. So let's just talk about what you did and how you manifested that.
Yeah, that was in 2018. I can't believe it's been so long ago, the Hurricane Florence. And I saw on Facebook.
Not Craigslist, Facebook now.
No, you know what? It wasn't Facebook. It was a story on CNN. And there was a woman in North Carolina. She was stuck. She had no way to get out, and she had 7 dogs. And I just thought, what's going to happen to that? And they were right in the path of the hurricane. And I think I saw it on a Tuesday, and the hurricane was set to come in on the Friday or something. It was like no time, within 2 days, this all happened. I don't understand how or what took over me to be able to dive into this. But I found that woman on Facebook. I somehow dug around until I found her on Facebook, and I connected with her, and I said, "What's the deal?" And she told me the situation. She said she only had a car. She didn't have a vehicle large enough to take all of her dogs. She had a number of large dogs, 7. And she gave me the details of what she was trying to do. She needed to get a car to go to her cousins or something in Nashville. I posted somehow on Facebook, I don't know in what places. This is me in Palm Springs trying to find this woman a vehicle.
In North Carolina.
In North Carolina, not having any experience with North Carolina, nothing at all. And somehow enough people on dog rescue sites or dog sites, I can't remember now, because I just dove in, and it was just like in the swell of an ocean of focus to somehow help this woman. And literally time was ticking, time was going down. We raised money.
Hey, Kate, hold on for 1 second. So had the hurricane hit?
No, it was on its way.
Okay, tell me the story a little bit. So she was panicking because she knew it was coming and she needed to get out of there.
She needed to get out, exactly.
Okay.
And as far as I remember now, I posted, I've got a lot of dog rescue sites here that I know in the Palm Springs area, but I had to go, I knew that
really?
in that really? So I posted, and then they got pushed, and then I found other things. I don't know where it got posted and shared and everything, but fairly quickly, there were a number of people saying, I will donate. I can help do this. I can do this. And suddenly there was money coming in. Some of it was coming directly to me that I was then putting directly out, because I said, hang on if you don't feel comfortable putting money into my hands, because I'm just some stranger, crazy dog lady in Palm Springs.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's wait, and you can let me identify where we're going to go and get a car. And someone said, I will donate $2,500 to the car. And so I was looking for used cars in the area.
On Craigslist?
Yes, on Craigslist.
Well, you're an expert on it, obviously.
Definitely. and yes, on Craigslist, yes, on Yelp, yes, on everything, wherever I found one. I found a used car company they were all evacuating. Everything was done. This is like, it was happening any minute. This, like, within a 24 or 48 hours. I think it all started 48 hours, and we had that much time to get her out, and with no car. So we found a place that said that they would sell us this car. We identified a van, a minivan. I said, please tell me it's safe. She can't get into it and have it be a lemon or crash. She's got to get out of there she's got to be able to drive 6 or 7 hours. We had arranged for her to go, and somehow the exchange was going to happen with the manager of this place, but the manager couldn't get to the car place because they had cordoned off
Sure.
a bridge or something to get to it because of the hurricane coming. So that stopped. And then at some point someone said, why don't you just rent a car? And I thought,
No.
what is wrong with me? Yes. Why don't you just rent a car? It's one of those situations where all of this stuff is happening, and the easiest solution is right in front of you, and no one suggested it until that moment. So
Everybody's panicking. I get it.
everyone was panicking. So I called around to all these different U-Haul trucks and renting a car. We did end up finding a U-Haul truck. That was the only thing, because all the other rental car places, they were all closed. Everything was closed. And she manages to somehow, I don't even know how she got to, I think someone had to pick up the rental truck, drive to her place, and then get her with the dogs. It's too many details. She gets in the car, this big U-Haul truck, and she drives maybe an hour, and something breaks, and they have to stop at another U-Haul place and change and swap out the truck with all 7 dogs. The drama just in this one particular case that didn't get spoken about on the CNN article about the situation was nail biting. All of us, we just wanted to know she was out and safe. Her name is Christine Meinhold, and she got out, and she's good. It was a pretty wild thing. I'm still friends with one woman from Phoenix who I met through all of that. She was one of the big donors. Her name is Dawn, and we're still friends. And she's then since helped lots of my dog rescue needs.
So are you still in touch with the lady that had the dogs? Did she go back to Mexico?
I'm still friends with her on Facebook. I'll let her know that I mentioned this podcast, that I'm on this podcast, and she will listen, and I'll send her the link.
Oh, cool.
Because her version of the story will be very, very vivid, because she was first person. She was there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 7 years ago. Let's keep moving forward. So, like you said, you've got 7 dogs. What's the one you've had the longest, and how long ago was that?
So interesting. A month after the hurricane, I went to Carson Shelter and I got Nico. And Nico was 7 at the time, and
Where's Carson? Carson, California.
Carson, yeah, Carson Shelter is. I guess Carson is near there, so it's in L.A. It's in L.A. Los
I know where
Angeles.
Carson is.
Yeah, L.A. area shelter. It's not a good place.
Yeah, I know Carson. It's the hood.
So Carson was where I saw Nico on Facebook. She was listed at Carson Shelter, and I drove from Palm Springs, and I met her, and there just seemed to be this connection, and thank goodness I got her. There's no way she would have made it out. She's probably the best dog I may ever have. Very, very special, very big. She's like a golden retriever chow mix or something. She's a big Oompa Loompa. She's the most lovely, darling, sweet, sugary girl. And so that's the oldest. Although I think Louie, the teeny tiny Chihuahua, who was found in a gutter during COVID, I think he's the oldest. I think he's 108. Maybe he's 109. I don't know.
Most Chihuahuas live forever. I've had Chihuahuas. I like Chihuahuas.
How many have you had?
I got one, the first one we got, and it's a matter of fact, I've had an episode about Chihuahuas on this to kind of debunk some of the stuff and talk a lot about them. The first one we had, his name was Bugsy, and the main reason I got him there, and it's been debunked now. My son had some issues with asthma, and there was a theory that Chihuahuas helped people with asthma. Yeah, I know. I was down, and literally,
Was it Dr. Chihuahua that started that? I think Dr. Louie here.
no, this is even better. Matter of fact, I'll make you listen to that episode, but it's a funny story, but it makes sense at some level. But and when I got told about this, I was actually down in Monterrey, Mexico, and the woman that was telling me about it said, "Oh yeah, it's really good." So if you've had your Chihuahua, they every now and then breathe really deep, and they kind of looks like they're running out of breath, and they kind of sneeze a little bit. Have you had that?
I've got all kinds of I've got a heavy Chihuahua contingency.
Okay, so you know how they take that real bad breath? So where the wives' tale was is that when they're doing that, they're taking in all the bad things from people and they're inhaling it, and that's why they get it. That's where it came from.
That's really funny.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
really
cool.
funly.
Now we're talking about me. I want to talk about you. I love talking about myself, but no, I'm more important. You're way more important than me.
Well, no, there's Louis. You're asking who the oldest people are. I just lost two in February, so it was 9 at that point, and then last year I think there was another two. They're gone. It's been a hard year of old people passing.
Right.
But Louis, I think, would be the oldest, and the rest of them are pretty middle aged. They're pretty. I think I'll be good for a bit.
I have a great saying for you, and it's crazy. So my neighbor who lives next door to me grew up in the country, and he's got 3 dogs. And typically, my experience with country people, they look at things in a better way sometimes. And he had a dog prior to the 3 he has now, and Fred, Fred had reached his limit, kind of a thing. And so one of the people that I know in town here just recently had to put her dog down, and she's been older woman. She's been really depressed. And she told me, and my neighbor's name is Jason. He said, Jason gave me the best advice ever. So I was telling him how depressed I was that I'd lost my dog. And he said, the reason why dogs don't live that long is that it gives us a chance to meet a lot more dogs and have a great life with a bunch of other ones.
Aww.
Isn't that a great way to put it? I thought it was really, really interesting. And it makes sense.
It is. Well, have you felt in your life that when a dog passes, that dog gives you another dog and gives you then paths you to the next dog? Because that's what I have found in mine.
Well, I'm not in Craigslist every day.
Well, I mean, I just when I had a dog in 2019 who died suddenly, unexpectedly. He did have a heart murmur, but he seemed completely fine, like running around like a maniac one day, and the next day, literally just had a heart attack, gone.
Oh.
And I was I was just devastated.
There's my dog. Mabel. I told you.
Hey, Mabel. And I was so despondent after Rocco passed. For 3 weeks, I could not go out of the house. I was not able to control my emotions. I would just be crying. I just had no control over my sadness. It was brutal. And I kept I was Googling, can a dog's soul jump into another dog's soul? I was crazy. I was just wanted to find Rocco again. And I'm scouring all the shelter lists and all the postings and everything, looking for a dog that looked like Rocco. And I couldn't find anything, of course, because I knew that I was just nuts and just super, super sad. And a few weeks later, I found myself at the shelter here in Palm Springs, or in Thousand Palms, near Rancho Mirage, and walked in, saw this dog named Dolly, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is a sign, because when I first got Rocco, I named him Dolly, like Dali, not Salvador Dali.
Dali, I got you.
I know it was Dahli, because I had a friend at the time who called everyone.
Dahlia is a flower, isn't it?
Yes, but this was from Darling.
My
friend Peter, who calls everyone Peter Maddock. He's just a dear man, and he calls everyone darling. Hello, darling.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what a cool name, Dali, as in darling. And Rocco revealed himself to be a Rocco. After a week of knowing him, he was a complete, like, schoolyard thug. He was just a little pain in the neck, little bully, little crazy guy. But I got him as trained as I could, and he was amazing, just a sweet guy. And so when he died and that happened, and I went to the shelter and I saw Dolly, I took her out. I said, "Can I meet this dog?" She was a white scruffy terrier, similar to Rocco. And instantly, she jumped on my lap and leaned into my body as though she was a little toddler and like she just had known me forever. And I looked down and it just felt like Rocco because that's what he would do. It was the behavior of her was so similar
Right.
to Rocco. And I adopted her on the spot and knew that I thought I'll find a foster and a placement for her really fast. And of course, she's sleeping under my desk right now.
Yeah.
So
You did find a foster. You.
I did. I did. I found a foster. She's literally, my toes are touching her right now. And she talks and behaves so much like Rocco. She's got a little attitude. And when I say it's bedtime, she says, "Rah, rah, rah, rah,"
Yeah.
like Rocco used to do. So I don't know whether there is this thing where they can help you find another one in need. But there's something. There's
I wouldn't discount it at all. I wouldn't discount it at all. I mean, that makes sense to me.
because you're a crazy dog person. That's why it makes sense.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind. And for everybody listening, they now know.
If there was a full-on logical accountant type, he's like, "Well, these people are well, he wouldn't be listening this far into this podcast, I'm sure. They're nuts. They're just nuts."
Absolutely. So let's kind of get up to today now, because I know you've got the project, and I want to get to that. But you're now also not only dogs. Let's talk horses a little bit. How did that happen?
Well, I'm in terms of horses, it seems like they're just they're all around me now. I started writing a project that was very horse heavy, and we've been developing that for quite a number of years. It's just had such a meandering path, and we're at this place now where should be shooting it in a few months, if all goes well. I guess 3 months, 4 months, and it's very horse heavy. And so during the creation of that and the writing of that, I did a lot of research on wild mustangs and the situation with the kill pens and horses in need and what we're doing with horses after we've used them for either carriage riding around New York or racehorses. I just such an archaic sport. And so the connection for me with all of the horse stuff and then animals is I really want to use my filmmaking passion and experience to be creating something that is going to make the world a better place and find a way to help animals, help people who are in crisis, find a way to and entertain us and make money and pay for my living expenses along the way. So the horse thing now, and I'm being a little bit kind of I can't go into super detail about the project itself.
Because you guys are still you're still in production, so I get it.
Yeah, but I will say that the experience that I've had over the last 15, well, I guess it's been 20 years since I rescued my first dog, and I'm 20 years older than I was back then when I first moved to Hollywood to pursue acting. I see now a different. I'm above my life in a different way. Now I'm in that zone of wanting to a legacy zone where I want to leave the space that I've been in better than when I found it. And so creating a project that hopefully will turn into a series. Right now it'll be a feature that encourages all of those things that we were speaking about in the beginning of this podcast, finding a different way of interacting with each other, our communities, and each other as individuals, and ourselves, and the nature, and the people around us, and the animals around us. That's my big focus now. Finding a way to combine it.
And so I'm going to ask questions, and tell me when you can't talk about it. I understand that.
I know I'm being very, very.
Well, you're not being elusive. I understand why. Okay, and so for you guys that are listening, you're still in the works, and there's a lot of things you don't want to get out there, which makes all the sense in the world. But it's going to start off as a film, and it's more of it's not like it's more of a documentary kind of film.
No, it's not. It's a scripted drama.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's properly, it's a scripted drama. I would I'm open to doing reality stuff, but that's just not my wheelhouse because I've been
Yeah.
an actor all
I'm
my.
glad it is, but to be honest with you, I like it better what you're already like it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can take more license and we can just have more control over where the stories and the themes and the messages and all of those things. So we've got a really special team of people. It's taken me a long time to curate this team. I am very my mission with it is to stay true to helping people. We've got a lot of components around veterans that are in it, and the advisory board, the advisors, the people that I've spoken to in the creation of this, all of my research. I am very dedicated to telling stories that honor all of the people that we're making this for. And so it's just taken a little longer to get this made because if it went into the regular Hollywood system, it can end up being kind of morphed or twisted so that it's more.
You want it to be your story.
I do, and it's not. It's going to be told in a way that's a little less typical than a lot of things get done in Hollywood because the modus operandi of Hollywood is to make money and to keep people watching, and
Right.
the style of the shows that are out, I think that's great that they're there. But I don't find a lot of times that I'm feeling nourished when I'm watching a show, a drama, a scripted show, and I'm aching to be nourished now. And the test audiences that have seen what we've created so far are nodding away and just saying thank you for making this, because I can see that there's a hunger for nourishing content that's nourishing stories, nourishing content, meaning the way you tell those stories, the way you get those stories across, that's also entertaining and interesting. So
you have a sizzle reel right now already?
yes, yeah, we've already created. We've got a whole short film. We've got a whole bunch of material. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
cool. That's
yeah.
great. And so what you're anticipating with this thing, again, it's animal related for humans too, is doing this thing and with the success and then creating a series after that.
Yeah, it's time. I just want to create one show that's a metronome of let's all it's kind of a constant beat of reprieve from the noise that we're in and the way of that every 2 seconds on a show you've got to have some sex stuff, you've got to have this, you got to have these things that just are a distraction to. I want to offer people a softer way of being, a softer way forward, a softer way of communicating with each other. And I think we all learn a lot from television, and we all think this is what romance looks like. This is what connection looks like. This is what a drama show looks like, where you've constantly got a cliffhanger moment that's going to, oh, what's going to happen? Oh, the fire is going to come and this is going to happen.
I think it's great to have your own vision and create your own recipe and how you want to make it. And hopefully everybody else gets it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, all of that said, this has been quite tested, and it's not Kate Zenna's pipe dream of storybook land and easy things. We still need
No, I get it.
story that has conflict and drama and ups and downs and everything. But it's just the way. I think maybe because the filmmakers, myself and my partner, are female. There's a female vision behind it. There's a different kind of language. There's a different reasoning behind it. And men are great. I love men. Love them.
I love them too.
Love them.
I love myself.
And I think we need a lot of healing. And I think that the female version of female voice toward that healing and finding our way back to being whole as people is a female. There's a female sense that I don't see a lot of on TV. Of course it's there, but it's not as readily available.
You need to go. I do the research. I did an episode with the World Horse Organization. They're based out of England. And the founder of that, it's an amazing story. Just look it up and look at her. I don't remember what her name is off the top.
I'm writing it down.
And if you look her up, we're talking like in the 30s or something, and how animals are horses in particular, because World War I had horses in that. And she was so modern in her thinking way, way back then on things. It's you could, what she was doing, you could look at it today. So it'd be really, for what you're doing on your film, I bet she fits into your story.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just, you look at it, it's so clear. the problems, it boils down to one thing, and that is greed. And greed is just another form of fear. So, if there's a way to boil things down so that we can show people what it's like to come from a place of love in every aspect of what you're doing, it's a practice. It's not something. It's something you got to practice daily, and moment to moment. It's not saying the thing that is the unloving thing to say, not honking your horn at someone when it's the unloving thing to do, not just all of those things. It's a practice to come from a place of love. It's a daily moment to moment thing. And when that happens, greed is not part of it because you have everything you need. So I could go and make this show and go and move it off to a big distributor, another company, and go get some money and be done with it and sell this off. But I'm not doing this for money. I don't need it. I'm doing this
It's a passion project.
to help what's going on and what I see around me and make the world softer and better and for all of us. So that's where Kate Zenna's coming from.
So as we're kind of finishing up here, because I promised you I wouldn't keep you on too long, couple things. One is if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way? Is it through social media, website? I mean, what's the best way to reach out that may be also a crazy dog person that wants to participate in your craziness,
Yes.
support you, or wants to know more about the project or anything like that? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I guess the best way for that to happen and the conversation to begin would, I think Instagram is a good place. I'm at Kate Zenna on Instagram. There's only one of me. If at some point there are more of me that pop up, it's never going to be me.
There's only one of you. There's no doubt about that.
There's only one of me, only one Kate Zenna. There's no Kate Zenna 1. There's no Kate Zenna official. There's what it's Kate Zenna, and we can chat. I'm definitely open to. I've got a lot of people who trust me with the donations. They send them to me directly, or they directly pay vet bills and things when I'm helping. I often am helping other people with a vet bill because I know the situation and I dig into it and I try to help in all kinds of ways. So the kind of work I do in dog rescue is certainly not just scouring Craigslist to get dogs. It's a lot of times it's helping people responsibly place their dog. I might send them a questionnaire to then send to get answered for the prospective people that they're going to place a dog with. And then for the movie and everything that's happening, I mean, I'm very open to speaking with people who are also passionate and interested in helping get worthy, nourishing, entertaining commercial content out there in the world. That's
So they can just DM you on Instagram.
they can DM me. They would probably be best to comment on something and then DM me and then.
Okay, so for you guys listening, it's in the description of the episode for that, and that way they can get a hold of you. Now, I told you about this. I forewarned you. So for you guys listening, Kate is going to tell her joke.
Oh, it's such a bad joke.
Well, anybody that's listened before knows how bad these jokes are. But just as a precursor, if you haven't listened before, these are the worst jokes in the world, and I really try to coax the guest in. But more importantly, if you have a grandchild, a niece, nephew, your kids, you want to be on the show, if you email me, I promise you I will put you on the show. If you've listened before, you know we've had other people on. But if you want to get somebody on there and do that, if you email me at mkyleforrealpodcast.com, I will put you on. I promise you I get back to everybody. And lastly, too, if you've got a great idea, you think's a good guest or somebody to be worthy to be on the show, I talk to everybody. So please email me again at mkyleforrealpodcast.com. Now, Kate, I'm so glad it's you, not me telling the joke. So let's hear your joke.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think I've had this since I was 8 years old. It's one of my only jokes that I know. And it is so inappropriate for what I do now in dog rescue, in animal rescue. Why did the monkey fall out of the tree?
Why did the monkey fall out of the tree?
Because it was dead.
Oh my God. Okay.
How awful.
Oh, it's
But
funny.
that made me laugh a lot. And all my friends, when we were 8, we thought that was the funniest. They thought that was it's the only animal joke I have. I'm sorry.
Okay, I have a joke for you.
Okay, give it.
So when you see a duck chasing a dog, how do you know what kind of dog it is?
When I see a duck chasing.
If you see a dog being chased by a duck, why do you think that is?
Why?
Because it's purebred. Anyways. Okay, so.
That's the. Have you seen? Wait a second. Have you seen?
I saved you.
There's a but there's a Chihuahua thing that's going around right now on Instagram, and it says the difference between a purebred Chihuahua and an inbred Chihuahua. And you watch the whole video, you're looking at the purebred Chihuahua, and then it cuts to a Chihuahua's head in a piece of bread, and it's a Chihuahua inbred.
That's perfect. So you get totally right up the alley.
It was up my alley. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So first off, I just want to thank you for being on the show. I know you're really busy. You've got all these different projects, and you know, I'm ADHD. Actually, I was corrected today. I'm living with ADHD because my brain is in 100 different things and it's spinning all the time, and I've got all these plates spinning above me. But for once, I think you may be doing more than me. So you taking the time, I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. If anyone needs a dog food recipe, you can also DM me. I should have mentioned that. I'm about to go and throw on a pot of dog food now.
And look for Kate and all the different things she's been in the past and in the future too.
It's the future, guys. It's all about the future. Let's go make the world a better place. We can all do it together.
Okay. And then lastly, for everybody that's listening, as I always say, thank you so much for listening. Keep following, tell people about this. Without you guys, I don't get to grow and I don't get good guests like Kate. But most importantly, from the bottom of my heart, thanks so much for listening. For real.
That concludes this episode of For Real with your host, Mark Kyle. For previous and future episodes of For Real, listen via all major podcast streaming sites.